So I guess something I'm kind of dreading talking about is we'll talk about the final finale or the final whatever episodes, however long it's been since we talked Halo. But yeah, so last time we talked, we were up to episodes 5. So that means we haven't covered 6, 7, 8, or 9. Again, I don't know if about you, Phoenix. We don't have to go super in depth into like each episode. I don't know if you'd want to, but just I don't know. What were your kind of I don't know. What did you think of the show? I guess now that we know it's done.
Not my favorite. I
No.
think from everything we talked about, my opinion hasn't really changed. I think I've got a little more numb to my critiques on the show to a certain extent. Like my whole deal of like, this is not Master Chief, blah 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 blah, and it's not. But I've been trying my best to just appreciate the show for what it is. It's been hard. I mean, if I can think of it as not a Halo show and just a sci-fi show, it's a little more palatable. But the problem is it's wearing Halo skin, so I don't know. It's hard.
I hate to say it, but or go ahead. No, I'm cutting you off.
No, go ahead. My thoughts are all over the place on
I
this.
was
So
just
you
gonna
go ahead.
say I felt like I was the more positive one at the very beginning talking about this show, and man, I really started to dislike it way more getting into the latter end. Um, it doesn't help that like I very much there's some content creators I really like following, so like I will unfortunately I will watch a lot of their reviews and opinions on things before I even watch it just because I like watching them and their opinions. You know
Oh,
what I mean? So maybe that swayed my opinion on some things, but like overall, I just don't find anything. I didn't find anything really entertaining about the last handful of episodes. I feel like the whole forgot her name, the whole Quan Ha episode. That was episode 7 or 8. I think it was 7. Actually, I have it. Episode 7? Yes, episode 7 was for me. It felt like a waste of an hour of my life. I, I just don't know. I just don't think that the show, in my opinion, brought anything interesting to the table in terms of Halo.
okay. I don't know. Go ahead. I'll finish your thought, and then I'll jump
No,
in.
it's just again the characters that are introduced here. I don't think were riveting or interesting. I didn't like Maki. I didn't like Quan Ha. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know. What's your opinion? Just go ahead.
I'm probably
I feel
hopping
like
in
our
straight
opinions are
into
both like all over the place for this show.
because I mean I didn't watch a lot of other reviewers on this. I mean I feel my thoughts are similar, just in passing glances, like little tweets
Mm-hmm.
I've seen. But let me try to pull some good out of this because I mean otherwise it'll be negative the entire time. Things I liked. The last couple of fight scenes, although I didn't like the context of the fight scenes, I really liked seeing Master Chief do some fighty stuff.
I
So I think
agree.
toward the
The
end,
end of
that
the last
started
few
in there.
episodes. You know,
Yeah.
the fight scene with on that weird planet, and also the fight scene with him and those other Spartans. I felt like were interesting.
Most of the fight scenes I thought were good.
Mm-hmm.
As the context behind them, how they got there, maybe what they were trying to do, I didn't really care for. But the actual fight scenes, even though you could argue some of the CG was a little wonky, I was okay with that. Overall, I thought that was good. There were some characters I thought was actually kind of interesting.
I liked Kai.
Kai,
Kai was one of the
Kai,
best characters. Yeah.
and although they weren't really developed, I mean, I didn't mind the other two Spartans. They didn't do a whole lot with them, but kind of the back and forth they had in the last few episodes, trying to convince them. I mean, it's not that it was some Shakespearean writing or anything, but it was
No.
nice to see
No.
that conflict. Um, and although, and I'm not once again super lore specific here, or really knowledgeable on how some of these characters should be. Halsey was at least always interesting to kind of see what she was going to do. I don't know how accurate really it feels wrong to me as far as like how she should have been from the games, at least
Well,
completely. But it was close enough
mhm.
that I could be like, okay, that kind of works. And she was, I thought, acted pretty well. I
I was gonna
mean,
agree. I feel like aesthetically and like, I feel like they got how the character, like, I feel like they got her personality and her character trait and
her
all
main
that. Her
motivations were
all of that
good.
is perfect, but they
some of
took
her big overarching actions.
yeah, they took her over the top, way too over the top towards the end, and it's I don't know.
Yeah, they took her a little far. But anyway, I'm just going to try to stay good for a minute. I think
Mm-hmm.
I will give Halsey a mostly good check
I agree.
in my
Yeah.
box.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think what else. Was there anything else?
I loved what they did with Cortana, but they did absolutely nothing with her. Cortana was
Cortana got better towards the end. Like, when they finally shrunk her down, I liked her a lot better.
yeah.
Um, and I mean, I tell you, it really did help. Like, once I got over her new aesthetic, the fact they had the actual Cortana voice actor helped a lot.
I agree.
Even though she was a little different than I think how she should have been played, like, from character motivation, towards the end, she felt pretty Cortana-y. I mean, weird stuff happened at the end, but I mostly liked how that character got to be where she was.
I'm also going to bring up. Or sorry, I'm also going to.
I like Soren. I'll say that. Last thing.
I didn't like Soren, but I'll bring up one other thing, and it's kind of a new thought. I don't think anyone talked about this entire season. It's really revelatory. Ooh. I kind of liked Chief when he kept his helmet on a little bit. I know no one has talked about that.
Minutes of it.
I know. I'm kidding. I like. Towards the end, I was so out on this character. I kind of didn't care. But there were times during the very last scene where I was like, okay, it kind of looks like the games a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I was so and we talked about this so long ago. Like, this John was never Master Chief.
No.
There's just no correlation there at all, and the fact that we never got to see him really with his helmet on, I know why they did it. They just did way too much of it. They could have held off on revealing it, or not had him reveal it as often. Like, they could have done any number of things, but they wanted to separate him so much from what we knew as Master Chief that, to me, there was no Master Chief left. He was just some guy. Mm-hmm. And maybe I would have liked the show better, and I think we've talked about it, if this wasn't... It could even still be a Halo TV show, not a Master Chief show.
It might have been good as like you said, some sort of... I mean, we've said it before, but it looked like a sci-fi TV show. Just call it anything else, Well,
okay, I would even give them the leeway to make it a Halo show, because I mean, it looks a lot like Halo, and there is some Halo lore stuff they're pulling from that.
But he shouldn't have been Chief. He should have been.
Chief.
He should have been Spartan 45. Yeah.
Yeah, he should have just been Kai. Take Kai's story, made her the focal point. Because they had other AI too. I don't know if they had any that were similar to Cortana, like in the lore, but I mean, the concept of AI is not a new thing. Like in Halo Infinite, you had the weapons. She was another form of AI. Granted, she was, spoiler alert, Cortana. But they could have done pretty much the exact same thing they did with Chief and Cortana with Kai and some other AI, and it could have still been Halsey. I mean, they could have done this story, and I would have been a lot more willing to just let some things slide if it wasn't Chief that they were character assassinating.
Sorry, good.
No, go ahead and say. I said what I wanted to say.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I felt, the thought came to my head. What could have been a very interesting story. I don't know if they talked about. I'm just assuming they have in the books and the expanded lore, but it could have been really interesting to see how, one of the first Spartans, maybe if the main character was one of the first Spartans, or one of the first super ultra Spartan, maybe one and then you could have done all this same stuff, and then towards the end that you could have killed that character off or something, and you know what I mean, and introduced John, where in the first season or two, then you never have to worry about Chief, and you could just run off.
Have to go that far. It could have been this exact same show, but with Kai as the focus. Everything they do with Chief, do it with Kai. Chief could even be there. Don't remove his helmet. Let's make him the guy in the back. But if the whole focus, because Kai goes through the same kind of existential crisis that Chief does, right? Mm-hmm. Takes out the chip, realizes she has emotion, discovering herself, all this kind of stuff. That everything that they did with Chief could have been done with Kai or a similar character. They could even have the romance, I wouldn't have cared about. Chief having the romance, I have a problem with. Some other Spartan, don't care.
You can't have a show with a strong female protagonist. There's no other shows or movies that have ever done that.
Here's like,
I'm
this
kidding.
has nothing to do with gender politics or any of that.
I'm just
Like,
kidding. I just
this is about the way they handled Master Chief. Like,
yeah.
tweaking the Halo lore is one thing, and I know a lot of people probably disagree with this. They'll be a lot more firm on, no, they shouldn't have changed anything. I would have been more okay with them tweaking some of the weird, Halo lore the way they did, and even adjusting, like, what was I gonna say? Certain characters to fit, like the way they did Miranda Keys and whatnot. Like, I probably would have been okay with that if it wasn't Chief in the center that they were just tearing apart.
I agree.
And because in the stuff they've added, the Chief, I don't think helps. Like, it's at least
No.
there's more questions now.
If this
than
was
there ever
if this
were.
was all canon, this would do damage to how much I like the character of the Master Chief. If this was,
We have no idea what this special link is to Chief and these artifacts, and what's her face, the blonde chick.
Chief is or Maki.
Maki, yeah.
Chief is supposed to be the ultimate, designed warrior who, like, doesn't give into his emotions or tries not to, and plays by the book. Does what he does, and everything he does is for humanity. And it's like seeing this guy yell so many times at the top of his lungs and trying to Superman punch a hole through people's chests and trying to lock people up into a room and release dangerous gases that could kill them. It's like, dude,
Committing a war crime by sleeping with a
prisoner of war.
Prisoner of war.
Yeah, it's like, dude,
it's ridiculous. Like, and you can argue what Master Chief's character should and shouldn't be based on
those
the
are things
game,
the Master
book,
Chief would never do.
Yeah, all those are things that are so antithetical to that character. Like, it's not even just making him more human. Like, I know that's what people who enjoy the show are going to argue that, no, they're humanizing him. You can humanize someone without destroying their character.
Yes.
And that's what they've done here. Like, and as I said, they could have done, honestly, this entire show without Chief in the front. And I could see Kai doing everything he did. Like, I'd be okay if Kai Superman punched Halsey in the face. That'd be great.
Dude, that was so... I'm sorry, but if we're talking about Halo and I get a quick clip, an image of whatever that scene was, and it makes me want to laugh, you failed in whatever it is you were trying to do. It cutting to it cutting to Chief in his helmet in that scene where he's like yelling, ah! I'm just like, oh, come on.
I mean, I know why they used Chief. They wanted the marketability of it. Like, you have the big Halo show. How could you not have it about Chief? But I feel like I would have been more accepting. As a fan of Halo, I would have been more accepting of this show if Chief wasn't there. Or at least not in that capacity. But anyway, I've said that far too much, so I will... I don't think there's anything else in particular. You mentioned it, Quan's whole story arc I thought was pointless. I just actually finished... I finished the show itself, a couple weeks ago when the finale aired. I just watched that Quan episode today. I tried 3-4 times over the past, 4 weeks to watch it. I couldn't get through the first 5 to 10 minutes.
It's just bad. What?
I think it didn't help that since I had watched... At that point, I'd skipped that episode. I tried to watch it, couldn't do it, and I went straight into 8. When I watched the rest of the series and realized that nothing else happened with Quan, I had even less motivation, because that means whatever she did in that episode literally didn't matter.
It's pointless. It was literally pointless. I think the only thing that of any value you get from that is that I didn't even, to be honest, I was working on a video while watching that episode.
Yeah, I watched in the background, so I didn't get
yeah, there's some, her family apparently has access to some sort of portal, and a lot of people now think that she is the way that Chief will access the ring, is that she'll teleport or some sort of portal. That's the whole idea of that. I have it in my notes. When did mysticism and magic become a part of Halo? That whole episode was all about mysticism, magic, doing shrooms and seeing your ancestors and stuff. It's just what? It's dude,
it's taken a whole different direction that doesn't need to be. Even if that is the rationale where they tie things back together, that does not need to be the answer to that solution. That literally was just shoehorning in that character for no reason.
Yeah. Madrigal, everything on Madrigal I very much didn't like. Other
I
than the
try to
first
be
episode.
optimistic to it. Like, I never really liked the character Quan and what they were doing with her, but I was like, well, maybe they'll tie this in interesting. But the fact that they didn't do anything with it was a shame.
Mm-hmm.
And Soren, I know you said you didn't like him, and I'm not saying he was a perfect character. I liked the fact I liked the stuff they did with the
He wasn't a
auxiliary
bad
party.
character. I think my only problem is that every time you saw him, he was on Madrigal with Quan, so maybe my dislike just kind of rubbed off just
By
because he was a part
association.
of that side plot. But he wasn't a bad character. I just,
That episode was so confusing too, because last I remember, prior to that, Soren was left stranded on Madrigal, and next thing you know, he's back home, and just like I was so thrown off with what was going on, like how much time had even passed
yeah, he
there,
lost
like
his ship, didn't he?
yeah, he lost. So we never figured out. I guess he was telling the story or something how he got it back,
Mm.
like at the beginning. But it's just like I don't know. That was very much, tell not show, and really just why, just to show that he was still, in charge of his old group to, break that guy's toes back on the ship. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's my
again,
attitude about all that.
I'm so kind of
Um,
indifferent on this show now. I really don't have any interest for season 2.
how do you feel about them? Once again, spoiler alert for anybody
Yeah,
who's watching, this, haven't
spoilers.
watched it. Tip to yourself that don't go watch it. Just read
Here's
the
your
spoilers.
sign.
Um, like, how do you feel about Cortana taking over? Is Chief dead? Is that what they're trying to play here, or is he's a husk now? Like,
I had no idea what they were going for there, to be honest. I forgot about that. Yeah.
yeah, at the end, for those who haven't watched it, yeah, once again, spoiler, but Chief basically says the only way I'm gonna win, the only way I can actually, be like Master Chief is if Cortana completely takes over my body and mind. So he basically walks up there to almost commit suicide, so Cortana has no choice but to take over. And I don't know if he actually dies or is just like completely knocked out to where Cortana just takes over his being. And then he's awesome. Like he actually looks like or acts like, lore specific chief where he's doing awesome action and blah 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 blah. But yeah, like now there is no human element to John anymore. Like he is Cortana in a Master
Nah.
Chief suit. And I'm sure at some point they're going to have the thing where, Cortana can find a way to release him, but I don't know why.
I don't
Why
care.
do we need to do that?
I don't care. I'm not
Yeah.
watching season 2. Like, I may,
I'm kind of in like train wreck mode though. Like I say I'm not going to watch
yeah.
it, but when it happens, I think I'm going to be curious enough, which I
I'll
know I'm
wait.
part of the problem now.
I'll wait for the first few reviews and kind of see what people say, and if I hear good things, maybe I'll come back. But I'm
I
pretty.
know it's not good. I like this season, especially for a Halo fan. This was not a good show.
No,
Like I'll
not
straight
at
up
all.
say it. Are there redeeming things about the show, like in general? Sure, some of the acting was pretty good. Some of the character things they did were kind of interesting. Some of the CG was kind of good. Like there were some moments that I think were enjoyable to see happen on screen. But as a fan of Halo, you were gonna hate this show and the direction they take with it, and that's not gonna change in season 2, 3, 100, what have you. But as I said, I am just kind of in that boat now where I want to see just how far away they're taking this. It's like reading really bad fan fiction. I don't know.
I get what you're
Which,
saying.
as I don't expect this to ever become good. I just, for whatever reason, want to see everything crash and burn.
I don't know if you know, but
the
did you know
rubbernecking
that
road.
the showrunners have left the show?
Oh no, I did not know that.
Yeah, apparently the showrunners either walked
Huh.
away or have been let go. So a lot of
Well, I
people.
find really interesting about that. Like from my understanding, I could be wrong. The ratings have actually been okay on this. Like
Probably.
I think it's been a hit for Paramount, at least initially. Like all the people signed up for Paramount, I think, to watch this. It might have just been because it was Halo, not saying it was a good show, but they kind of got hook, line, sinker, kind of dragged into it. So the fact I feel like a season 2 is a guarantee. So I don't know, to hear that the showrunners are backing out is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it says here. I'll switch
After
over.
season 1. Huh.
Halo showrunner to exit Paramount Plus series after season 1 exclusive. Says just as the two guys are backing out, so a lot of people are kind of curious as
It's
to.
showrunner, not showrunners. Are both of them leaving?
I believe so.
We're both attached. Killen departed ahead of the start. Oh. So then I guess they both will have left.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I'm just skimming this. I'm probably missing some stuff here. I wonder if that's going to be better or worse for him. Because here's the thing that everybody was upset about. Before this show even was aired, they said we ignored the games on purpose because we wanted to tell our story. Which, that was the red flag right there for everyone. So I'm curious maybe if they bring on new showrunners that have any kind of, appreciation for what's already in existence, if they'll try to steer it back on, the right track. But I guess the question is, can they? Like, for as much character assassination has been performed here, do you think they could ever fix this with new showrunners, new direction, or is it just done?
I don't know. I feel like they could recoup and come back, but they would.
Here's the thing, though. Remember, you can't erase what Chief has already done. The fact that he tried to Superman punch Halsey, slept with a prisoner of war, like that's all still going to be in the back of your mind. Do you think they can get this Chief to be the Chief that we know and love from the games?
No.
Ever?
No.
I think that's kind of the crux of it. No matter how much they fix of the story, Chief is inherently ruined, I feel like.
Yeah.
So this, to me, will never really feel like Halo ever. I mean, it'll be, once again, show in Halo's clothing, but I don't think because they've broken Chief so much, they can fix that.
All right, I'm looking through here. Anything else I wanted to add on to this? Just episode 9, Spartan's still taking helmets off willy-nilly, I had. Because Kai runs up in that ship and she gets knocked out from behind because she doesn't have her helmet on, like always.
That was so stupid.
Why aren't your helmet on when you're in battle? Like, I don't know.
Why? Yeah, why do you take the helmet off? Ever. It's like, you don't need to see their face. They know it's you. They know your armor. Like,
anything else? Oh, I wrote it down, which is something you should never say about the Halo show. But I wrote, almost feels out of character now to see this Chief taking control of, hold on, I can't see. It almost feels out of character now to see this Chief taking control and seeming like a UNSC leader, LOL. That was like, at a certain point, he like changed his character and kind of became like a leader at some point, and I remember just being like, oh, that doesn't seem right now, because now, this, throughout the entirety of the show so far, I couldn't see this guy leading anybody,
No.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess the only other thing I wanted to mention is Angry Joe. He said something about how, like, the last 15 minutes for him was, like, the only worthwhile thing to watch throughout this show, and
the problem is it was tainted, though.
Yeah.
Like, it was fun to watch, but as I said, as soon as you put the context back in there of what's happening, it's Cortana in a Chief husk. It's also kind of ruined. So, yeah, it's fun to watch, but it also kind of, like, stabs you in the gut. So, I don't even know if I would agree that was worth watching. I don't know.
I guess. I'm like I said, I'm kind of indifferent to this whole thing. I'm so out on this show. But it is interesting you said that their numbers did pretty well. I mean,
I think, and I haven't pulled this up, so I'm speaking on my butt just a little bit here, but I feel like I read, at least initially, this was doing really well for them. And the reviews have not been absolutely terrible. I think IGN gave season 1 like a 7 or something, which, I mean, that's not, great by any means, but that's not the worst thing in the world. And most people who are not Halo fans, and that's, I think, what this is really going to come down to. People watching this on Paramount Plus who are not, like, big Halo fans. I mean, never played the game. They might know who Master Chief is, but have no idea about story or whatnot. They're probably going to be perfectly fine with this, to be completely honest. Like, they're not going to get why it's such a big deal that, Cortana has completely taken over his body, or why, Chief is broken character, doesn't have a helmet on. To them, they're just like, whatever. Yeah. So this might end up being very successful in its own right, just because they're not making this for the fans. The fans are going to hate this. The rest of the majority of people out there who just say, oh yeah, I know Halo the video game, this could actually do really well for them.
Yeah. Alright guys, well, I feel like for me that's the last time I talk this show. At least, like I said, unless season 2 comes out.
Bringing you back. This is like the core of what this podcast is about now, Chaz. No. We have to talk about something Halo related and tear it apart. We talk about the games, talk about the show. I'm going to start reading books, and I'm going to start yelling about them next week.
Nope,
just wait.
Not me. Alright, so yeah, that's it for me.